I think a brunch in the morning on Thursday, and then we're out. So, so yep, I'll be that way, man. I might hit you up and see what's going on. Because I mean, I think we're doing a
Okay.
half a day Thursday. I might just stick around and depending on what's going on. Because and it's not like when we drive back to the office. Some people are, but
Yeah, you said you're not that committed.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's like most people. I mean, I would literally go past my house to go to the job. So if anything, I
Oh
would come
yeah,
home and work. But I'm probably gonna
yeah,
stay in
that would make
Charlotte.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yep. So oh man, what's been going on? I guess they Hall of Fame said Robert Kraft, you and Mr. Belichick you guys can go in together, just not this year.
Right, right. I was like, I guess they gonna hold them out together.
Yeah, me and Prev had a good conversation. I told him he should bring his presence back at one point, maybe next year, football season, whatever. But he said that he was trying to remember. We had a really good conversation. As a matter of fact, I should have recorded it. I should have recorded it. He said, he was trying to remember when this whole kind of first ballot Hall of Fame thing came in, and I told him. He said, as far as he can remember, he think the first argument that he can remember having about it was when Troy Aikman got in. Mm-hmm. And he said, his argument was Troy Aikman's stats and everything worthy of a first ballot. And I said, well, he had the championships, which people tend to lean on and trump anything that you didn't quite do because you just happened to be on a team or was a catalyst for a team that won Super Bowls. I said, but he said, yeah. He said, but that's the first time I think he said he remember having a conversation about who should be first ballot or whatever. Right. And I kind of told him, I said, just kind of jumping in. I just kind of told him, I said, to me, the difference is when it comes, like, okay, and I'm gonna hit you off with something he told me about the ownership piece because I was always curious about why owners got in the Hall of Fame anyway. But he schooled me to something too on that. But I was telling him about Belichick. I said, Prev, I was like, I don't know when they made up the first ballot thing, but if Belichick is the most accomplished football coach in the history of the game, if anybody is warranted first ballot,
right?
I said, and I said, honestly, there's only one other coach in existence as it stands today that we would consider being first ballot. And you know who that other coach is right now in this time?
Yeah, Andy Reid.
Andy Reid.
Well, I'm talking about for eligibility's sake, it would be Mike.
No, I'm talking about
Andy Reid has a
concept of first ballot. Like who would be if Andy Reid was eligible? Everybody would say he would be first ballot because of all the almost accomplishments with Philadelphia and the accomplishments with what I'm saying, like the consistency of winning, and then he finally got championships under his name. And everybody knows he's the catalyst. He's the coach. He calls the plays. So I told him, I said, what everybody's looking at is, damn, Belichick, regardless of the rules or how you vote, didn't get in. And there's only one other coach in the current state right now. Because, Sean Payton's got one, and this coach got one, and Tomlin had one, and all that. But nobody has the resume like an Andy Reid other than Belichick. So I said, and Belichick, of course. So I said, that's why everybody's kind of like, what the hell? Because, like I said, if Andy Reid literally said, I'm done, and then gets eligibility the next year, you would expect him to get voted in first ballot Hall of Fame. So,
and to be clear, I don't know why it's just a year for coaches. Like, why do we go
again? That's dumb. That's dumb.
Like you should have left it at 5 because there was nothing wrong with it being. It makes sense to me. And that if you come back, you got to restart it. Just like Phillip Rivers was at his 5th year and coming back to play for the Colts, he has now restarted his 5-year countdown. And
that's one of those things you weigh on as a coach. I mean, a player is do you really want to do that? And honestly, for Phillip Rivers' sake, right, is as much as you can be on whatever side of the coin you want from a Phillip Rivers. Should he be in? Should he not? Regardless, now you got 5 more years to think about it.
right. You got 5 more years to try to figure it out.
To try to see if we could get slingshot Rivers in, as I used to call him.
Yeah, but I don't know, like and again, I ain't gonna die on the hill for Bill Belichick because I'm not a huge Bill Belichick fan.
No.
But there's just certain things where you're just like, it just made sense that he would be first ballot.
Yeah. And that's why that's why I said I was like we don't have another. I say until Andy Reid retires, we don't have another person that we can wait to see is his first ballot thing, because Andy Reid doesn't have anything controversial, say, right, that you could put in front. So it'll be really about just the subjectivity of who votes him in or whatever. You would expect him to get in first ballot. But he helped me to the ownership piece, and he, Prev got the knowledge and everything. And I said, I was like, freak, they putting owners in for it. They ain't do nothing. I mean, they did something, but they didn't do, okay, they hired people to hire people to play. Okay. And then he was telling me that Jerry Jones is in, and he said Robert Kraft was up for eligibility. He said that wasn't a fluke, because he was saying as far as the impact that has been had on TV deals, stadiums being built, he's saying that Robert Kraft and Jerry Jones ideally have been the two owners that have been on the table negotiating all of these deals. Even he was simply like even Jerry Jones negotiated SoFi. And Robert Kraft negotiated most of the TV deals, like was making sure. So or something like that. So he said that's probably what they're recognizing is not the fact that
because with the owners, the way they put it for the owners fall in under
contributors or something like
contributors.
That. Yeah.
And so, but they look at what their impact and their contribution. Also, Robert Kraft has had an impact on the salary cap.
That's true.
The ability for the salary cap to go up.
Yep.
And so that's why him and Jerry Jones, like their influence and their impact and how it grows the league.
Yeah, and that's what so he had the school.
And so that's what, and so again, and I'm not saying he shouldn't be in, but again, I think it's stupid to have moved the coaches over with the contributors. Like, they were fine where they were being voted on and judged with the players at the 5-year mark.
Yeah. And I only brought that.
That made more sense to me, because to me, the contributors are people that are like behind the scenes and your puppet.
Yeah, they're not they're not playing.
They're not impacting the actual product on the field and how it performs.
Right.
And coaches and players do that. Like, coaches don't play, but they impact. And they have a direct connection to how things look on the field.
And I was just bringing it up because I saw like some of the media, they were talking about Kraft in the sense of him being the owner of championship teams. And I was like, that doesn't make sense, guys. Like, he ain't really do. I was like, so now it makes sense when Previn explained it to me. It's funny. I mean, because a lot of those folks on TV get paid a lot of money to tell us things and educate us.
And they should have given me that
really don't. I'm like, I had one of my best friends from school was tell me it's like you're contributing to your point, and this is how they've done it, and the things that they've done has transformed the NFL in some aspects. And like you said, made the point of, getting certain stadiums in play, like I think Atlanta, SoFi, those stadiums being in play because they negotiated saying these are going to be money makers for you, which is SoFi is turning into, right? You're getting Super Bowl, World Cup, Olympics, all that stuff. So that's cool. It makes sense to me now. But the media was just like, he was the owner of 6 champions, 11 champions. I was like, that don't make sense. Anyway. But all right, Robert. Well, you'll
I think they was trying to dumb it down for your general audience,
right?
Because the average fan probably doesn't know all about the contributions and all of that stuff. So they was just trying to dumb it down for your audience, but you don't need to dumb it down for me. Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense.
It is what it is. But starting off with that foolishness. So it seems like me talking about Tom Brady. You know what? I'll say it like this. I mean, you got to try to embellish your story and everything, whatever. Deflate gate, all that. Okay, whatever. Man, I personally, because see what I was telling, because somebody, Previn was asking this. I said, Prev, the vote was in. I said, I don't understand I don't know who's leaking this stuff because they leaked Belichick the day of, a couple days after, and now they leaked Robert Kraft, and you're not gonna know everybody until tomorrow, right? It's tomorrow night, right?
It's tomorrow, and usually the leak happens around 3 o'clock on the day of.
Oh, right. You usually get it in the afternoon or something. I was like, they leak it off.
Then they're like, oh, these are the people that made it into the Hall of Fame.
It's
so
like,
when you're watching the honors, you're ready.
Yeah.
But the fact that y'all have done all this leaking, and what I hate about it is that they've leaked it, and people are so up in arms about who didn't get in. I feel like that's going to take all the shine away.
It's going to take away from the people that did get in, and those folks, like I said, and then those folks are going to be now connected to the fact that Kraft and Belichick didn't get in. But if Roger Craig gets in, most people that know football know Roger Craig probably should have been in perspective. I mean, he was the first thousand guy. Like, he was the first person to run 4,000 and catch 4,000 as a running back. Like, that was a big freaking deal back in the day. Come the hell on.
and my thing is like the issue that I've always had with the NFL Hall of Fame selection process is that when they don't let guys in first ballot,
or like within the first couple of years at least,
you create a backlog. Because what they don't want to do, then it becomes a thing of, well, we don't want to just have a class of all wide receivers. Okay,
why not? But that's the point. It's like,
but if you got 3 really good all wide receivers eligible at the first time in 5 years, because I remember it was like when Jerry Rice became eligible, they didn't have any other wide receivers go in that year because he was Jerry Rice. But the issue is that the previous 2 years before that, y'all didn't let in Art Monk, you didn't let in Chris Carter. And so now you let in Jerry Rice first ballot, but you still got Art Monk and Chris Carter waiting.
Right.
And oh, by the way, in the meantime, you got people like T.O. and Calvin Johnson retiring and all these things. And I'm like, hey guys, just let them in the first time. Because just like I didn't understand, like Chris Carter, y'all didn't let him in first ballot, and he had to wait 3 years to get in, 4 years to get in.
Something like that.
And like when he didn't get in the first year, it was so dumb because he was so upset the first year. Then rumor was the second year when he was eligible, they didn't let him in because they didn't like the way he reacted to not getting in the first year. Are you kidding me?
And that's the thing. And if I'm not mistaken, I'll check to see with basketball, but I don't think it cares about position or whatever. Like, if you're eligible and they get voted in, it is what it is. If 3 forwards get in, 3 forwards get in. If 2 centers get in, 2 centers get in. 5 point guards and it doesn't matter.
But again, y'all create this problem because rarely do 2 top big name people retire around the same time. And y'all could eliminate the issue of we don't want anybody going in with Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice and Chris Carter can't go in together because then it takes the shine away from Jerry Rice and he's the best all time. But then you should have let Chris Carter in when he first became eligible because he got retired years before Jerry Rice. Yeah. What are we talking about?
Yeah, I don't know, but like I said, and then people, like I said, was Roger Craig, L.C. Greenwood, I think it was Ken Anderson, I think the other person. Like, if they get in, it's like you say, it's going to take a little bit of shine away from them. They didn't ask for this. They probably was like, why y'all didn't vote Belichick in? Like, come on now. Like, if I had a vote, like we haven't heard and I haven't seen anything, but I will guarantee you, Roger Craig and them would be like, I would have voted for him. Like, yeah,
right.
It's Belichick.
It would have been okay.
Yeah, it would have been fine. But like I told people, I was like, but a person like Roger Craig,
they let him in, and then I just they do too much.
But Roger Craig, like what I'm getting to, like L.C. Greenwood was on the 70s, still like the 70s Steelers defense, and then but Roger Craig, like I don't think people. Do you understand? In 1985, this man rushed for 1,000 and caught for 1,000.
1,000, right?
Holy crap! And
nowadays, that's almost like it's just what running backs do.
But but you say that, but because of but I would challenge that to say because now you only get that maybe from maybe one, and usually that one is always kind of hurt. And I'm talking about CMC. I'm saying from a standpoint of how the game was played versus now, you got a lot of running back by committees. Even the stars are sitting. So those stars, and usually the running back can only do one thing or the other. So you might have one that catches 4,000, but he ain't nowhere near rushing 4,000. Then you might have one rush 4,000, and he's maybe couple hundred. This man, for 2 seasons, I'm looking at his stat. For 1 season, he caught 4,000, and then there were a couple of seasons where he ran 4,000 and caught for like 500. That's crazy. And he wound up with 14. We wound up with what? 14,000. He wound up with 13,000 all-purpose yards in 10 seasons.
I don't know why he wasn't in.
What? And he's got 2, if I'm not mistaken, what? The 84 49ers is a champion.
He got 2 rings, I think.
I think he got 3. That's crazy. And this man had to wait.
Because you're not flashy and you don't make a lot of noise. Because like that was my thing with Art Monk.
Ooh, boy.
Because that was my thing with Art Monk for years.
Mm-hmm.
Because Art Monk wasn't a flashy wide receiver.
Yeah.
And people were like, well, what did he really do? And I was like, first of all, that man got 3 Super Bowl rings, and he's got it with 3 different quarterbacks. I can't tell you how hard that is to do.
Yeah.
Let's start there. I said, but look at his numbers. I was like, his numbers are a beast, because I was mad when they let Michael Irvin in before him. And I was arguing with somebody about it, and they were like, well, it's the stats that matter, not whether or not you just like the person or not. I said, well, if it's the stats that matter, Art Monk should have gone in before Michael Irvin.
Way going in. Yeah,
and
way.
I was like, the issue is Michael Irvin's is a big name, and he was part of the triplets. And so finally, dude kept arguing, and finally I was like, just Google, it's free. And when he Googled Art Monk's stats and Michael Irvin's stats, he was like, oh my God, Art Monk has almost 10,000 more yards receiving than Michael Irvin. I was like, I rest my case.
Yeah.
Like, stop playing with me. Y'all should have let that man in the hall.
They should have let that
years
man
before you let him in.
And just to be clear on fact check, Roger Craig he was on 3 of the championship teams, 84, 88, 89. So he wasn't on the first championship in 83.
Okay.
Yeah. So he had just joined. It looked like he had just joined the team, or was on the actual team. Yeah. So he's got 3 rings. But again, he's got 3 rings as a starting freaking running back and 14,000, 13,000 all-purpose yards in 10 seasons. How was this man had to wait?
And the thing is not only did he had to wait, wasn't he like he was in the category of he was no longer in regular eligibility.
Hey, he's a 4-time Pro Bowler, first player in NFL history.
Special circumstances category.
This man.
Not only
this
did
is
he have
dirty.
To wait,
Art Monk was dirty, but this is dirty too. Poor Rob.
Right. Because Art Monk got in, I think, on his last year of eligibility.
But Roger Craig is a 4-time Pro Bowler. In 6 seasons, he was a 4-time Pro Bowler, won 3 championships as a starting running back, and had 13,000 yards, and they made this man wait. And now he's going to be associated with the Belichick non-first ballot vote. This is dirty. This is so dirty. The Hall, man. People are losing a lot of respect for the
Which
Hall,
is wild.
I didn't realize how many yards he had total. Like I thought it might have been one of those 5 or 6 years. Because people look at Terrell Davis, and that's why I was always like, because he only really had maybe 5 or 6 years, but he was so good in those 5 or 6 years. Over that stretch of time, and he was just dominant, and then they won the championships too. So that's what I was telling Previn, because he was asking me. He said Troy Aikman's stats is comparable to Matt Hasselbeck. He said Matt Hasselbeck's not again. I said, hold up, pump your brakes, Prev. I said Troy Aikman's got those stats, and he's attached to 3 championships. I said, and he said, well, what about those teams being probably one of the most, if not the most talented team? I said, well, that's not his fault. I was like, he was on the team. I was like, we know Eli, from a longevity standpoint, has the stats to stack up. He happened to be on two teams where he kind of was the catalyst a little bit. He helped the defense basically carried them to a point, but Eli made plays and won 2 championships. I said, but what people tend to do is when you actually win a ring as a quarterback, right, as a starting quarterback, and you have stats, and then they take the last step and go, and then look who you won against. Oh, you actually won against the team that we're considering the best modern day dynasty outside of the Chiefs and maybe the Eagles right now. But what I'm saying is they take that in consideration. But make no mistake about it, Eli is going to have to wait a couple years before somebody get him in there. So because of the other years, where he led the league in interceptions and his team was garbage.
Right. That was my thing. I was like,
I like Eli, but he's going to have to wait. And if he doesn't get in, it might be considered but they're going to make him wait.
I was like, well, and I don't know how long. I don't really think they're gonna make Eli wait that long.
Probably next year. I
just think that they might let him in this year. I just didn't think he was going in last year because they weren't gonna put him in first ballot.
No. And I told Prepman, I said that's where I think they have they started using that kind of first ballot piece to try to somewhat separate the borderline because the key is that once you do something once you allow certain players to get in based on whatever reasons you make to hit that button to say yes, you then allow the conversation to be had. So you have to be careful. And then in this situation with like Belichick, you didn't hit the button. So now we're having that conversation about, well, damn, like you said, if they ain't first ballot, who else should be ever? So
because then it becomes, who do you let in first ballot and why?
Who do you actually let in at this point? And like I said, the only other person we can test this theory against is Andy Reid. And I'd be damn sure when the Big Red, when he decides to hang it up in the next 2 to 3 years, which I'm thinking I'm giving him 3 more at the most. When he decides to hang it up, that gentleman needs to be in. He need to go in the next day, in my opinion. Because he's never coached any of my teams. But he's never coached any of my teams and nothing. But I just got a lot of respect for Andy Reid because he took so much flack at times. And you know this, being the Eagles fan.
Yeah.
I was like, this dude was coaching Alex Smith, and people tend to forget that the Chiefs were going to the playoffs before Patrick Mahomes.
Even though we didn't win the Super Bowl with Andy Reid, the fact that we went to 4 consecutive NFC Championship games and 1 Super Bowl. That's hard to do. It clearly in today's league.
And see, what I'll give it credit is the NFC, like there's ebb and flows about the talent level and teams and everything.
Right.
That was some good football played back in those times. It was some good teams. So they were playing well, other good teams. Like really, really, really good teams. I'm not saying it's
it wasn't like we had a cakewalk to each NFC
that's the point.
Game. We was in the trenches battling.
Yeah, and that's what I said. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I'm curious to see who the players are gonna make it. Like, I don't even know who's eligible. Like anybody else that came out. Was there any name that was like 5 years ago, person retired that
Larry Fitzgerald was eligible this year for the first time?
Oh yeah.
And
that'll be really bad. That'll be
you know
really
how much
bad.
I'm gonna flip something over if Larry ain't on it.
That'll be really bad. They got to see that. This is gonna be really crazy.
Listen,
this is gonna be
just
crazy.
Straight like that. If Larry Fitzgerald in the first ballot Hall of Famer, I'm flipping all this shit over, okay? Just all of it.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
There was somebody else that was eligible for the first year. Hold on, let me see. Because it wasn't a whole lot of names that were eligible first year.
Yeah.
But it was Larry Fitzgerald and somebody else. Let me see.
I mean, you had Drew Brees.
Drew Brees, that's who it was. Drew Brees,
Frank Gore,
Frank Gore, and Jason Witt.
Drew. Oh God, Drew. Look, you gotta let Drew got.
And I feel like
it's Drew Brees. It's Drew Brees.
I feel like Frank Gore's not going to get in first ballot.
I don't think Frank's going to get in. I would be surprised if they let Jason in First
I'm
ballot.
surprised that they let Jason in.
But Drew Brees and Larry.
I feel like Drew Brees and Larry. When I looked at the list, I was like, Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald better get in. Finalists also was Eli Manning, Luke Kuechly, and Marshall Yanda. I don't even know who the hell.
Yeah, Terrell Suggs was in the finals, and Adam Vinatieri.
Oh yeah, Adam Vinatieri.
Hey, if you gonna let a kicker in, that would be the one.
Right, and that's what I said, because somebody was like, do they let kickers into the Hall of Fame? I was like, they better let that one in.
Hey, look. If you don't let him in as a kicker, then go ahead and tag him as a contributor. Because
let's be clear, the first 3 Super Bowls are because of Adam Vinatieri. They won every single one of those by 3 points.
And here's the funny part: if I'm not mistaken, he was a kicker for the Colts, right? And won the Super Bowl with the Colts, did he? So he got. Adam Vinatieri was that dude.
Adam Vinatieri was that dude
because they had Mike Vanderjagt. They had Mike Vanderjagt before Adam Vinatieri got to the Colts, and Peyton didn't like Mike Vanderjagt at all. He didn't like that man.
Because Mike Vanderjagt, but our idiot kicker got liquored up.
Our idiot kicker got liquored up and got out here and got liquored up.
That thing was funny.
Boy, that country boy came out of Peyton. He was like, idiot kicker got liquored up. I'm supposed to be out here having a good time with these great players, and I'm out here talking about our idiot kicker
who got liquored up. That thing was hilarious.
Yeah, if anybody can get in that joint, man, I'll vote for Adam Vinatieri. That little dude was kicking his ass off.
Adam Vinatieri, and the only other kicker that I'm like they should let in, even though right now he going through some things, is Justin Tucker. Because I don't know how you keep him out of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I gave you that one too. But yeah,
Drew Brees. I don't know how you keep Justin Tucker or Adam Vinatieri out of the Hall of Fame.
Drew Brees and Larry Fitzgerald, they better not. They better not. Yeah. I would be mad. If they told me Eli gonna wait one more year, Terrell Suggs,
I would be okay with all
Luke
of that.
Kuechly, I don't even think might get in. That's just
I don't know if Luke, I honestly don't. And I love Luke Kuechly.
Everybody loves Luke Kuechly.
Look, and shout out to Luke Kuechly because I met him last year and he was amazing.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah.
He's a stand-up guy. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
However, I don't think he played long enough. Even though he was a beast when he was in there, I feel like he didn't play long enough, so his stats are not going to support him getting into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, he did. He won like Defensive Player of the Year a couple times, I think, maybe once.
I think he got Defensive Player of the Year once.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, so in 2013 he was something. I think a lot of times if you get one of those accolades like Defensive Player of the Year or MVP, even if you don't win, they give you the respect to put you in the hunt of getting into the Hall of Fame, which you should be.
And I get why he's in the hunt. But if you don't
make it, it's kind of like there's enough there to kind of say, yeah, I get it, but boom, boom, boom. So we all agree.
So Larry
Fitzgerald and Drew Brees.
So the quarterbacks, which is crazy because Phillip Rivers was actually a finalist this year, but because he came back, he couldn't make it.
They weren't gonna put him in there though.
They weren't gonna put him in anyway.
It's hard. It's hard. I think it's gonna be hard for him to get in that sucker.
So, but the running backs are Frank Gore and Fred Taylor. I don't know that either one of them get in. The wide receivers.
Frank Gore has a better chance than Frank Taylor. I would just say that from a longevity standpoint. If there's one that's going to get in between those two, maybe Frank Gore at one point. Keep going. Let's see.
Wide receivers: Larry Fitz, Torrey Holt, Steve Smith Sr., Hines Ward, and Reggie Wayne.
First of all, hold up. Receivers again. I'm looking at it.
Larry Fitzgerald, Torrey Holt, Steve Smith Sr., Hines Ward, and Reggie Wayne.
I can make a case all of them should be in.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. I can
make a case that all of them should be in.
But here's the thing, though. And this is what I said. They end up with their log jam because Larry Fitzgerald is the only one on his first year of eligibility. So we all can make an argument that all of these other ones should be in. They should have been in the Hall already.
Oh, my God.
They should have been in the Hall already.
I mean,
Hines Ward been retired, what, 15 years
almost?
So
let's play. Hey, we got some time. So let's think about that. Okay, those 5 guys, right? If you want to start separating or trying to filter through that, like if we had to filter through that, you could start with, okay, if you start with stats, you put Larry over here. He's here. You got to put Reggie Wayne over here from a stat standpoint, right?
Yeah.
And then Steve Smith Jr. is not too far off from that. And Torrey Holt is damn sure over there. So stat-wise, most of them are in. Okay, championships. Hines Ward, Reggie Wayne.
Hines Ward, Reggie Wayne.
And then
Torrey Holt.
And Torrey Holt. So let's just stop right there.
Rams got 2 or 1? 2?
Holt got 1. Holt. You said who?
The Rams, because he was on. They
only won 1. They only won 1.
They won 1. Okay.
Yeah, because the other one they lost to the Patriots.
That's right. They lost the second one. They lost to the Patriots.
Yeah, and then but here's the point I'm making, and all of them have played in the big game.
Yeah.
Every last one of them have played in the Super Bowl. You can make a case that the Cardinals should have won theirs, but the Steelers won, and you can also make a case that. Yeah,
that was one of the best Super Bowls by the way. And shout out to the Cardinals and the Steelers.
And Jeff Saturday just had the conversation about how they basically felt like they gave the game to the Saints, even though the Saints were playing good football that game. Yeah. They felt like that should have been 2 for them as a Colt. You know what I'm saying? Like Reggie Wayne.
It should have been, honestly.
Yeah, and so what I'm getting to is all these guys, and Steve Smith was played in the Super Bowl. They almost pulled off the overtime victory against the Patriots that one year. How the hell are Torrey Holt and freaking Reggie Wayne at a bare minimum is not in the freaking Hall of Fame?
And Torrey Holt, this is because Torrey Holt, because he retired. Hines Ward and Torrey Holt.
And Hines Ward!
They've been retired the longest. And I feel like they retired maybe like a year apart from each other.
Torrey Holt's last year was 2009. Okay. Hines Ward, I don't even see Hines Ward on this list. Is he now like in the senior thing?
No,
he's still in it. Hines Ward, I don't even see him on this list. That's crazy.
He retired.
So Torrey Holt was 2009. Reggie Wayne was 2014.
Right.
Steve Smith Jr. I think he was like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So he would have been 20. I think he was 2019, 2020. Because I think his first year was last year, eligibility.
Yes.
So, okay, you make Steve Smith.
I don't think he made the finalists last year, though.
Okay, so Steve Smith, you make Steve Smith wait. I think Steve Smith Sr. will be okay. He'll be fine. You can't make Larry wait. That's just not right.
Okay, Hines Ward retired in 2012.
You gotta start putting these dudes in. That's just terrible. That's bad. Like, I love Jason Witten. I would put all of those receivers in there before Jason Witten. Not even close. It's not even a question. Right. Like, I would put all 5 of those receivers in before
Jason Witten's the only tight end. And then I
get the fact why he's on this list. I forgot he played a year with the Raiders.
But then you have the list of the O-linemen that are up for eligibility.
Let me see.
Willie Anderson, Lomas Brown, Jahir Evans, Richmond Webb, Steve Wisniewski.
Richmond Webb is not in already? That's a Dolphin.
Marshall Londa.
He was probably our best. I
still don't know who that is.
Man, Marshall Londa. Yeah, I don't know, but he literally just. Yeah, his first year is this year, eligibility.
Yeah, and then defensive players: Luke Kuechly, Terrell Suggs, Kevin Williams, and Darren Woodson.
Wow. That's crazy.
So
Reggie Wayne is in his 7th year of eligibility.
Yeah, and Torrey Holt is in his what, 10th?
He's in his 7th year too. Both of them in their 7th.
Okay, so they retired the same year.
It looks like they retired at the same time. I'm looking at it saying, oh no, I'm sorry. I'm way off. This is at times as a finalist. So Torrey Holt and Reggie Wayne they retired Reggie Wayne retired in 12. I think Torrey Holt retired in 09, so 3 years apart. But they've both been a 7-time finalist, and they haven't been in.
Right.
Why are you playing with my emotions?
Why are you playing with their emotions?
7. That's what I mean. That's what I would tell to them. You gonna vote me 7 times and still not put me in? Like, what are we doing?
Right. Why do I keep making the finalists?
What are we doing? What are we doing?
And if you know how the hall works, this year when they saw that Larry Fitzgerald was up there, they probably like, so I'm not gonna get in this year either.
Jeez, bro. That's
the thing. Be like, I'm not getting in this year either.
Crazy.
And somebody got to make it make sense to me.
And here's the thing: they'll make a case.
They create their own problems because just like we said, so Torrey Holt, he retired in 2007.
2009.
In 2009. So let me see. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So in 2014 he was eligible. Mm-hmm. That man been eligible.
And between 14 and now, between those 12 years, 11, 12 years, he's been a finalist 7 times and not gotten in.
Right.
And Reggie Wayne retired in 2012, which means he would have been 14, which means he was eligible in 19. So he was eligible. So he's been a finalist every year.
Every year.
What?
Like, that's what I said. They create their own problems.
This is messy.
And I get it. Everybody can't be first
really
ballot.
Dug into it like this before. This is messy.
And I get it. Everybody can't be first ballot. But sometimes you got to be like, okay, you're not first ballot, but we're going to let 2 or 3 of y'all in on this off year where we don't have no first ballot wide receivers. Let me let 3 of y'all in. Because like last year, they only let 6 people in the class.
This is messy.
Last year was just 6 people in the class. Don't get me wrong. I was excited that Eric Allen got in. Shout out to Eric Allen. And last year they didn't have any wide receivers in that class.
Why not? Like, what are we doing?
But clearly you got some that need to be in there. But they
could have easily let Hines Ward and Torrey Holt in there last year, and nobody would have been mad. And then this year you could have let Reggie Wayne and Larry Fitzgerald go in, and then have the conversation about Steve Smith a couple years from now. I mean, like, and Steve Smith is the type of person where his stats show it, his impact shows it, but he probably be one of those people that's like, I don't care if I get in, but like, come on, guys, Reggie Wayne.
Sterling Sharp got in last year. He was the only wide receiver, but he was one of the.
But he was a senior. He was one of the.
Yeah, he was a senior candidate because his years of eligibility had expired. He got his senior candidate.
Yeah, he was like Roger Craig.
Look, and I lied. I said there was 6 of them. There was 4. There was 4 people that got in last year: Antonio Gates, Jared Allen, Eric Allen, and Sterling Sharp.
That is ridiculous.
Y'all could have let Reggie and Torrey in last year.
And Hines Ward, for that matter, shoot.
To release some of this cluster right here.
I mean, they could have literally just, like you said, played the game and said, all right, we're going to put Hines Ward and Torrey in last year. And then this year, we know Larry's coming, so we got to put Larry in. Let's throw Reggie in there. We good. That's messy.
Over it.
I'm so freaking bothered by that. Like, I'm just, like, I get when people kept saying people getting, looked over and everything, but then I'm looking at, like you said, I'm looking at the balance of it, and I'm like, don't even vote for just put them in. Like, anyway, who's going to be upset? Because the receiver position is a different breed of how you may evaluate their impact on the game, because they have to be in line with having quarterbacks to get the ball to them at one point in their career to get the stats that they have. So, and you usually can associate that potential Hall of Fame or top quarterback with the receiver. You say Larry Fitzgerald, I say Kurt Warner. You say Reggie Wayne, I say Peyton Manning. You say Hines Ward, I say Ben Roethlisberger. Like, you can do this all day. Torrey Holt, Kurt Warner. Like, Like, and then Kurt's in.
Right. So why shouldn't his receivers?
So why shouldn't the top two guys, and if you want to throw Isaac Bruce in there, go right ahead. Why shouldn't those two guys not be in Hall of Fame? Peyton's in. Marvin Harrison is in, but on the other side of that guy
but Marvin Harrison didn't go in first ballot, did he?
I don't think he did, but I think I think mainly because of some of the stuff he had going on in his personal life.
He had stuff going on in his personal life, and they also had to finally figure out how to get T.O. in there.
I'm just saying, like, you got this is crazy, bro. This is crazy.
And my thing is, and don't get me wrong, I ain't gonna fall on my sword for T.O. either. I knew T.O. even though lots of people were upset that T.O. didn't go in first ballot, I was like, that man ain't going in first ballot because he had too much drama and angst.
And then I couldn't be mad at him when he went in. He didn't go. I was like, this man is at the crib.
Well, no, he had his own ceremony at his college.
He had his own ceremony. That's what it was.
He had his own ceremony at his college. But my thing is I think he probably would have went if they hadn't have made him wait, because they made him wait 3 years. They made him wait 3 years. It wasn't just we're going to make you wait 1 year, not go in first ballot, and then we're going to put you in the next year. They made that man wait 3 years to get in. And again, I was like, because people were like, Lenise, and I was like, I knew he wasn't going in first ballot. If
you thought for 1 second that man was going in first ballot, you wasn't watching all of this, the noise and stuff around this whole situation. They
right. I was like, there's no way.
They weren't going to give him that privilege or that be able to say those words. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, there's no way. And I said, and the reason that I knew that is because I think 75% of the voters that vote for the Hall of Fame, one, they're in the Hall of Fame, but they're former players. What they don't dig is people causing drama on the teams. Mm-hmm. They're not putting you in. And I was like, they're not putting him in first ballot. They're going to make him wait. And whether right or wrong. But I was okay with it because I was like, that man threw temper tantrums all across the league.
But I guess my thing is, like I said, with a person like him, it's ego, it's all that stuff, right? I mean, I don't know, man, but I mean, I can perceive that he has an ego about him, and he probably wanted that privilege. And then when he finally got in, his way of sticking it to him was, I'm not going to show up. I'm not going to take pictures with people. I'm not going to shake hands. I'm not going to be, if you didn't want me part of the crew, then I'll do it my way. I respect that. I'm okay with that, to your point. But anybody thinking for a fact that he was going to go in first ballot, they're not watching the real world. That wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody. And then, oh, by the way, they were also extra petty because they put Randy Moss in first ballot and he went in with T.O.
Yeah. But the thing is, but you weren't going to not put Randy. Now we're back to where we are now. Larry Fitzgerald is going in. Randy Moss was going to go in. Randy Moss had 2 Hall of Fame careers. The man had 2 Hall of Fame careers. He had one with the Vikings and one with the Patriots. Like, the man had 2 Hall of Fame careers. Holy crap.
You're right. Like, he was going, but Randy also, he had drama. But the difference between Randy and T.O. is that after he retired, when Randy got into the media, he became very likable. Like, even more likable if you didn't like him before you liked him. He rehabilitated his whole persona and who he was, and everybody loved Randy Moss.
You can't run with Mike. You can't run with Mike.
Yeah, he was.
Hand up.
Everybody loved Randy Moss.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. I was like, this man had 2 Hall of Fame. He had in a 4 or 5 year stretch with the Vikings and a 4 or 5 year stretch with the Patriots. This man had 2 Hall of Fame.
He did. And even when he was with the Raiders and they were terrible, he still was Randy Moss.
Anyway, who's going to win the Super Bowl?
The Seattle Seahawks.
You know what? This is going to be a tragic day if the Patriots pull off some beat. You always got to get nervous when the Patriots are in the Super Bowl because you just wait for something to happen. Something odd You just gotta
nervous.
You gotta overcome that odd with a catch that's pinned to your head, like on the helmet. You gotta have something odd when you catch a ball, when you're dragging your feet out of bounds on the sideline. You gotta have something odd.
This ain't the Tom Brady Patriots. This ain't even the Bill Belichick Patriots.
But I'm just saying though. But let's not pretend this is the Pete Carroll Seahawks either. I mean, they're good. They're really good. But they're going up against.
But again, here's my thing. I trust the Seattle defense.
I know this Sam Darnold thing. Here we go.
I don't necessarily trust Sam Darnold. He did a little something in the NFC Championship. Shout out to Sam, and I hope he maintains that same level of performance in the Super Bowl. But the Seahawks defense, they are who they are, and they've been the same people the whole season.
Well, here's what I'm gonna tell you from a football stance. Number one, everybody's gonna have that kind of similar mentality. I don't have that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you Sam Darnold's going to ball out. I don't know how good the Patriots are. And maybe they're going to show me in this game. I don't know how good they really, really are. They got 14 wins. We said that about the Bears most of the season, right? And we were like, dang, they keep winning. And they were like, but how they're winning, that's not sustainable. I don't know. And then they got
that's what I said. Didn't I say that about the Patriots? I was like, the Patriots are the Commanders of last year. And I expected them to lose in the playoffs because I thought they were going to lose to the Texans until C.J. Stroud turned into, I don't even know who he turned into.
Yeah.
And then Bo Nix got hurt and the blizzard of 2025.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. We don't really know, and I'm not saying that the Patriots are going to come out here and score 50 and shut out the Seahawks. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying I don't think it's going to be. I hope the game is competitive, and I'm not saying that the Patriots won't be competitive. I just don't think they're going to win.
But I guess what I'm getting to is you're looking at it from a Sam Darnold perspective, which is okay. If Sam Darnold still played well. I know you're saying the Seattle defense, and again, it took what we would think would be a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback to dissect that defense. I don't see the Patriots. I don't think it matters what Sam Darnold do because I just don't know if the Patriots are going to be able to score anyway. I just think the Patriots are going to struggle.
Because everybody's like, I don't think the Patriots are as good as people think they are. I think their defense is decent. Yeah. I don't think their offense is that good. I hope the game is competitive just because I want to see a good Super Bowl.
I hope the Patriots shut me up and, like you said, and be competitive. I don't think Sam Darnold is going to turn into a pumpkin. I don't know if he's going to need the ball, but I don't think he's going to need to ball out like he did against the Rams.
I don't either.
And that's what I said. I don't think he's going to give the ball up. I don't think any of that's going to happen because I don't think the Patriots are going to throw some exotic things against them. That's the one thing I will say about their defense. If you go look, they have a lot of versatile parts like those teams back in those 2000s where they can throw different exotic defenses based on the talent level of their linebackers. They have a no-name defense. We don't know a lot of guys on this defense. We know Gonzalez and a couple folks. They got a guy in the middle, I think it was Williams or somebody that can wreck the game if they need to. But the two most underrated parts, I think, of Seattle's game or Seattle's team, the two most underrated things that we got to make sure we keep in mind, which I think is really the advantage. Defense is easy to say. The offensive line for the Seahawks is pretty damn good, and their special teams. That's why I said this is a complete football. This is a complete football team, even if Sam Darnold plays an average game. Like if he goes out there and throws for 202, a touchdown and no picks.
That's like the divisional round game. Yeah. Sam Darnold didn't have to do a lot because the first play of the game, their special teams ran it back for a touchdown.
And that's all I'm saying. They have so many different ways to get you.
I feel like more of Sam Darnold will need to be Trent Dilfer in this game.
See, now you're going too far. Trent Dilfer, the Ravens defense was so... Don't call a man Trent Dilfer. Don't do that to him. She's like, I ain't stutter.
I said what I said.
Don't do that to that poor man. That poor man.
I said,
Look, I love me some Trent Dilfer.
I said, I think he's gonna have to just be Trent Dilfer.
Just be Trent Dilfer. I would at least give a Brad Johnson for the Buccaneers.
Oh, you mean the quarterback that nobody remembers who he is?
But I'm just saying, at least Brad Johnson.
Look, but that's the thing. Every time people talk about that Super Bowl in the Bucs, they be like, who was the quarterback? And then everybody got to stand around and think for a little bit. And then they be like, oh, it was Brad Johnson. Yeah. You don't want to be Brad Johnson because nobody remembers that he played for the Bucs in the Super Bowl.
The only reason we remember Trent Dilfer because he was on TV. Stop it.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is Trent Dilfer was... Well, Brad Johnson should have got a contract and played and started talking football like Trent. And then they took Trent off the air. Poor Trent. I like Trent. Bring Trent back.
I like Trent too. Because Trent Dilfer was a student of the game.
But I mean, everybody, like I said, I ain't mad. I mean, me and Previn was sitting there talking about it. We were just like, we trying to make some narratives out of this Super Bowl that's going to make it a little bit more fun to watch. And we can't find too many.
We got Bad Bunny as the halftime show.
Yeah, and shout out to him for winning the album of the year. Hey, shout out to my man. I might keep this in the edits. My man Nate Smith, guy I went to high school with. He was our lead drummer. He won Best Alternative Jazz Album. He won a Grammy this weekend.
Really?
Holy crap! He won 2. He won, I think, the album, and he had a single on the album. I'm like, holy crap, Nate. He posted that thing. All the high school cats, we going crazy for him. Like, oh, holy crap.
What's up.
You won 2 Grammys, bro? And I look, and I was just scrolling through, and then, the algorithm, and it pulled up, and there was a picture of him holding 2 Grammys. And I was like, did somebody AI that? And then I looked down, because nowadays you just never know. And then the Grammys, and then I looked down and the post said, this just happened. And then I hit the button and looked, and it was like Grammy Nate Smith for Best Alternative. I said, I was like, hold up, this ain't AI. This is real. I was like, this dude done won 2 Grammys. Go ahead on, Nate. But Super Bowl, shout out to Bad Bunny. We're gonna, hope they got that translator going on because my Spanish is kind of weak. So I ain't gonna be able to follow nothing.
I was talking to
I ain't gonna be able to follow nothing. Shout out.
Look, I was talking to the guy, one of the physical therapists. He's a physical therapist in training. Where I go get physical therapy for my knee. And I was talking to him tonight before I left. And he said, I just hope it's a good game. He's like, I just want the game to be competitive. I was like, me too. I said, but we got the halftime show. And he was like, I don't know any Spanish. I said, but the beats be banging. He was like, that's true.
Bad Bunny got some tracks now, like.
Yeah, so he said, even if I can't sing along, I said, you can still do a little salsa in the living room. So.
Okay, and then, yeah. So, and somebody made a comment. I saw somebody say he about to have the best back-to-back Sundays for an artist. I said, that's not quite true. I said, because Kendrick's back-to-back Sundays was pretty good last year. Was it back-to-back? I don't know when the Grammys were. I was like, but Kendrick's, he had a pretty good time too.
I don't know. I can't remember. Was the Grammys?
Was it the Sundays back to back? I just know Kendrick. I just know Kendrick won Best Album.
Yeah, I remember he
won all the Grammys, and then he went out there and clowned. But they said Trevor Noah was the host of the Grammys. Did you hear the joke?
That thing was hilarious because I was watching the monologue.
Did you hear the joke that he talked about?
He told Kendrick Lamar, he said, I was going to do a couple of jokes to roast you. He said, but then I remember what you do to light-skinned dudes from different countries.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
He said, so I thought better of it.
That is one of the funniest things I've ever heard. Ever. That's why I said I ain't had to watch it. I could just catch the clips, man. That was hilarious.
That thing was hilarious. I was like, bruh.
And now Kendrick got like, what, 20? I'm looking at it like 26 Grammys or something like that now?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I get the final, I would say the final comment on the Super Bowl. So you trust the Seahawks defense. You need to see Sam Darnold do it again. We don't necessarily know how good the Patriots are, but we wouldn't be surprised if they made it a game. We hope they make it a game. But what's your final true take on it though? What's your prediction? You say Seahawks. What do you think is going to happen from a score wise, roughly? What do you think?
honestly, my gut is telling me that that the Seahawks are going to dog walk the Patriots.
Yeah, I can.
That's what my gut is telling me.
Okay.
I'm hoping it doesn't work out that way, but I feel like we could by the end of the first quarter, midway through the second quarter, be like, all right, so let's see this halftime show, and then let's see what else is on.
I got you.
That's what my gut is telling me.
I'm going to give the Patriots some credit from a defensive standpoint. Okay. I don't have a lot of faith in the offense except for one factor, and we got to see. I think the Seahawks will be okay with this, but the best way the Patriots attack you is they lull you to sleep with running plays and short passes. This is Josh McDaniels, so I'm sure he's got something. He's got something that he's going to put out there.
There's a flea flicker somewhere.
There's something coming, right? If they said that Booty was a little injured or whatever in the last game, he's their deep threat. To me, that's
also
where the game.
Drake May's shoulder is hurt,
and his shoulder. So you got all these different elements and stuff, and then I just think about even when the Patriots won or lost, it's never been a blowout either way. So I'm just thinking they're gonna probably be in the game, but I got them losing. I got them losing by like 2 scores, like 30-20 or 27-17 or something like that.
Something like that. Okay.
And it's not going to be something where the Seahawks are going to jump out and have 27 and they come back. I think it'll be something where you get a 7-3, 14-10. You know what I'm saying? Then you get to like 27 and, you know, like they may be up a score. I think there's going to be a competitive game because I don't think because Sam Darnold's going to make a lot of mistakes. I just think they're going to probably. I think there's going to be a filling out process early. I think the biggest key to the game is JSN. Can the Patriots slow this guy down? Because the other person that helped him out last game, Cooper Kupp, was Cooper Kupp. JSN is going to be a problem, and all Sam Darnold got to do is just toss it. Yeah.
That was my other thing, and one of the reasons why I feel like the game is going to get out of hand.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the season, and especially in the playoffs, Cooper Kupp has been Cooper Kupp.
Oh, my God. He's played so good. So good.
So it's going to be a problem because if y'all decide JSN isn't going to beat us, then what we doing with Walker and Cooper Kupp? I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, he scored in all of their playoff games.
Yeah, I think so.
At least once. I want to say in the divisional round, he scored twice.
Yeah, but I'm saying, Cooper Kupp has been playing good football.
Yeah, so like the past 6-7 weeks, Cooper Kupp has looked like Cooper Kupp from the Rams, and he has definitely been playing with the chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Which always bodes well when players have a chip on their shoulder.
I think like I said, the Patriots. And here's the thing. At the end of the day, not one of us will be surprised. Well, we will be surprised, but we will be like, freak, it's the daggone Patriots again. If they pulled off some mess where they kick a last-second field goal to win a game 20-17 or something crazy like that.
Yeah, something stupid like that.
Yeah. But I think,
the
Seahawks are gonna have. I think the Seahawks are gonna have to help them, like you said. It's gonna have to be Sam actually throwing a pick or somebody fumbling or something that gives them, because that's exactly how they've been winning the last few games in the playoffs. They have not gone out and just actually beat teams. The other teams have allowed them to beat themselves, and the Patriots have taken advantage of it. Yeah. So, but all right, man. Let me get on out of here. I appreciate you as always.
All right.
Peace out.
Peace.
Yep.